Did you know there's a country where the calendar is like perpetually 7 years behind ours? So right now it's basically 2011 to them.
Mm-hmm.
Or a village where just wearing a hat is seen as like a profound act of disrespect.
It sounds wild, doesn't it?
Totally. Get ready to, well, really challenge everything you thought you knew about our planet and honestly the incredible tapestry of human cultures. Welcome to the deep dive.
Yeah, welcome.
Today, our mission, our goal, is to take you on this whirlwind tour, but, a really detailed one, through the most surprising fact about every country in the world. We're digging into the source material you shared.
Right.
And we're not just rattling off trivia here. We're pulling out the really wild, unexpected, and frankly, utterly fascinating nuggets.
Exactly.
This isn't just fun facts. Think of it as a shortcut to being genuinely well-informed. It gives you this profound understanding of the sheer diversity, natural and human, that covers our globe.
That's precisely it. Yeah. Think of this deep dive as, an expedition, really. A journey of discovery that goes way beyond the surface level. We're exploring how geography, history, culture, and human ingenuity have all sort of woven together to create these unique, sometimes bewildering realities all over the world.
Right.
These aren't just isolated bits of info. They're like windows, right? Each one offering a different perspective on how people live, how they think, and they absolutely provide those aha moments.
Oh, definitely.
Those moments that just underscore the amazing, astonishing variety of our world. We've really dug deep and compiled some truly astonishing details that I promise you they'll stretch your imagination and probably reshape how you see things.
Okay, let's unpack this then. We're going to start our exploration by, just marveling at how bizarre and beautiful our planet's geography can actually get.
Right.
From sprawling landmasses to the deep sea, even the crazy stuff happening in the sky above.
Yeah, the atmosphere too.
And we're kicking things off with a real head-scratcher, something that makes you question how we even define geographical boundaries.
Ah, yes, a truly unique aspect of our world's geography. It centers around the island nation of Kiribati.
Kiribati, okay.
Now, this isn't just another small island group. It holds a truly unparalleled geographical distinction. It's the only contiguous country in the world that spans all four hemispheres.
Wait, all four? North, south, east, and west?
Exactly. All four. Just, try to wrap your mind around that for a second.
Okay.
Its islands are scattered, really scattered, across this immense area of the Pacific Ocean. We're talking roughly 1.3 million square miles.
Wow.
And it's this incredible spread. Plus, it's strategic placement right across both the international dateline and the equator. That's what gives it this rare distinction.
So it's literally touching all those lines.
Precisely.
Yeah.
It literally means Kiribati is the first country on Earth to see each new day, sunrise by sunrise, across its easternmost islands.
The first place to see the sunrise.
Every single day. It truly is like having a foot in all four theoretical corners of the globe at the same time. It's a remarkable testament to how arbitrary, but also how fascinating our lines of longitude and latitude can be when they actually intersect with real land.
That's mind-boggling. I mean, how does being spread across all four hemispheres actually impact daily life? Or even things like, governing the place or communication for the people there? It sounds like a logistical nightmare.
Oh, it absolutely is a logistical challenge, a huge one.
Yeah.
And it definitely creates some unique cultural and administrative issues. Think about it, the immense distances between some of its islands.
Right, miles and miles of ocean.
Exactly. Communication, transport, it all becomes incredibly complex. Historically, this vastness actually contributed to different island cultures developing even within Kiribati itself.
Makes sense.
And administratively, managing time zones, coordinating services across such a huge area, while also being the first to see the new day. Yeah, that definitely requires some unique approaches. It just underscores how geography isn't just a static map, right?
Right.
It actively shapes human society and how countries are run in really practical ways.
Okay, so from a nation of scattered islands, we're going to pivot completely to a single vast expanse of green. Our next stop couldn't be more different, geographically speaking, but it's arguably just as vital, maybe even more so, for the health of our planet.
We're now turning our attention to Suriname. It's a relatively small country nestled there on the northeastern coast of South America.
Okay, Suriname.
And when you picture Suriname, you should immediately just see green, an almost unbroken, vibrant canopy of green.
Why is that?
Because a staggering 93% of Suriname is covered in forest.
93%.
93%. It's not just a high percentage. It actually makes it the country with the highest percentage of forest cover in the entire world.
That's incredible.
It's an ecological marvel, especially now, in an age of such rapid deforestation elsewhere.
Yeah.
And the implications of this, they're immense and profoundly positive.
How?
Well, this massive, largely untouched expanse of rainforest makes Suriname a carbon-negative country.
Carbon negative, so it absorbs more carbon than it produces.
Exactly. Its lush, dense forests soak up more greenhouse gases, mostly carbon dioxide, through photosynthesis, than the entire country emits through all its human activities combined.
Wow.
This makes it an absolutely crucial player in the global fight against climate change. Its natural resources don't just benefit its own local ecology, they contribute massively to broader global ecological health. It's like one of Earth's vital lungs, right?
Yes.
And a crucial carbon sink, a truly invaluable ecosystem service that honestly benefits every living thing on the planet.
A carbon negative country in the 21st century. That's just incredible. It really highlights the power of nature. But like you said, not all natural wonders are quite so, benign, are they?
No, definitely not.
Sometimes nature throws these incredible, almost alien landscapes at us, places that really push the boundaries of what we think is habitable. Our next destination certainly fits that description.
Indeed it does. Our journey now takes us to Djibouti. It's a small nation strategically located in eastern Africa, right at the crossroads of the Red Sea and the Gulf of Aden.
Djibouti, okay.
And Djibouti is home to some of the most extreme, visually striking natural environments you could possibly imagine. It's one of the saltiest places on Earth. I mean that quite literally.
Saltier than the Dead Sea.
Well, Lake Assal there, it's a crater lake located 509 feet. That's 155 meters below sea level. It makes it the third lowest point on land globally.
Wow, below sea level.
And it is an astonishing 10 times saltier than the sea. Its salinity is about 34.8% compared to the ocean's average of, 3.5%.
10 times. What makes it so salty?
The geological conditions there are just extreme. You've got volcanic activity, the spreading of tectonic plates right there in the Rift Valley, plus a really arid climate that leads to rapid evaporation.
Evaporation leaves the salt behind.
Exactly. It creates these hypersaline environments where salt just precipitates out, forming these vast, glittering salt pans. And then there's Lac Abe, another huge salt lake.
What's special about that one?
That's where you find these towering limestone chimneys. Some reach 150 feet high.
Yeah.
They're sculpted by escaping geothermic gases and mineral deposits over time.
Limestone chimneys. That sounds surreal.
It is. It creates this almost otherworldly visual, a landscape that genuinely looks like it belongs on another planet, starkly different from any typical lake you might picture.
Mm-hmm.
And this unique environment, it isn't just a visual spectacle. It makes you think about the resilience of life, Mm-hmm. Extremophiles organisms adapted to extreme conditions might thrive there.
Right. Life finds a way.
And it certainly highlights the sheer challenge of human interaction with such harsh but beautiful extremes.
And speaking of extremes, imagine a place where lightning truly strikes twice, and then some. Not just occasionally, but almost every single night.
Ah, yes.
Our next geographical marvel is this almost perpetual atmospheric event. It sounds like something straight out of a fantasy novel.
That would be Venezuela, home to what's famously known as the Everlasting Storm, or Relámpago del Catatumbo.
The Everlasting Storm. I like that.
In a specific, unique part of Venezuela, right over the Catatumbo River, where it flows into Lake Maracaibo. Lightning strikes multiple times, almost continuously, nearly every single night. How much lightning are we talking? We're talking an incredible 1.6 million individual lightning strikes per year.
1.6 million.
Yes. This extraordinary phenomenon occurs on around 300 nights a year, consistently lighting up the night sky.
What causes that? It can't just be random.
No, not at all. The meteorological conditions are incredibly specific and unique to this region. You have cold air descending from the snow-capped peaks of the Andes Mountains,
Okay.
colliding with warm, moist air rising from the huge Lake Maracaibo in the Caribbean Sea.
Ah, the classic warm air meets cold air scenario.
Exactly, but on a massive and continuous scale. This constant clash of air masses, combined with the unique mountainous topography that essentially funnels and traps the air, creates the perfect storm factor, you could say.
So it's geographically locked in.
Precisely. It creates the perfect atmospheric conditions for this unique, almost permanent atmospheric event. It's an unparalleled natural spectacle, a virtually unending light show. It actually serves as a vital beacon for local fishermen.
Wow, like a natural lighthouse.
In a way, yeah. and it holds significant local, even national relevance as a symbol of the region.
That's a truly electrifying fact. Heh. It's astonishing how nature can concentrate such power in one specific spot. And speaking of vastness and hidden wonders, sometimes these exist not just above ground, but right beneath our feet, revealing an entirely new world.
Indeed. We're now venturing deep into Vietnam to explore Sun Dun Cave.
Sun Dun, okay.
Which holds the indisputable title of the largest cave in the world by volume.
The biggest cave. How big are we talking?
Well, what's truly remarkable is that this colossal natural wonder was only discovered relatively recently. A local man found it in 1991, but it wasn't really explored properly by British cavers until 2009. Yeah. And this isn't just, a big hole in the ground. It's an immense, intricate underground system. It stretches an astounding 5.6 miles. That's 9 kilometers in length.
9 kilometers long, underground.
And the volume, get this,
yeah.
1.36 billion cubic feet, or 38.5 million cubic meters. Try and visualize that.
Yeah.
It's 5 times larger than the previous record holder. It's so immense that a 40-story skyscraper could comfortably fit inside its largest chamber.
You could fit a skyscraper inside this cave.
Comfortably. The sheer scale is almost beyond comprehension. But it's not just its size that's amazing. Sun Dun Cave is so vast and isolated that it boasts its own unique, self-contained ecosystems.
Ecosystems inside a cave.
Yes. Complete with dense underground rainforests that thrive around these massive sinkholes called dolines, which allow sunlight to actually penetrate deep inside.
Wow, underground rainforests.
It has its own underground river, a fast-flowing one, and even distinct weather patterns. Its own clouds and mist can form within its vast chambers.
Its own weather. That's incredible.
It truly functions as this pristine, self-contained world. A natural marvel that profoundly reminds us that there are still ongoing discoveries waiting to be made, even now, in the unexplored corners of our natural world.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting, I think. Moving from the raw power and, the beauty of the natural world to the intricate, sometimes just bewildering tapestry of human societies. Some countries have traditions and social norms that might just make you do a double take.
Absolutely.
They challenge everything you thought was normal.
Yeah.
Our next fact takes us to a country that lives on a completely different timeline than most of the world. Literally.
This brings us to Ethiopia, a country in the Horn of Africa. And yeah, its concept of time is truly unique.
Okay, how so?
Well, for starters, Ethiopia uses a calendar that is 7 years and 8 months behind the Gregorian calendar that most of the world uses.
11 years behind.
Yep. So while we're sitting here in, let's say, 2024,
yeah,
to them it's currently 2016. And they celebrated their new year, which is called Inkutash, back in September.
Why the difference? Is it just arbitrary?
No, not at all. It's deeply rooted in their ancient Julian calendar, which calculates the birth of Jesus Christ differently. It follows the traditions of the Ethiopian Orthodox Tewahedo Church.
Ah, religious roots.
Exactly. Unlike the Gregorian calendar, which kind of tweaked things with leap days to match the astronomical year better.
Right.
The Ethiopian calendar follows this fixed system. 12 months, each with exactly 30 days, plus a special 13th month at the end of the year with just 5 or 6 days, depending if it's a leap year.
A 13th month, okay.
But the time differences don't stop there. They also use a 12-hour clock system.
In fact, we do.
Sort of, but it uniquely starts at dawn, what we would consider 6 a.m.
So their 1 o'clock is our 7 a.m.
Precisely. And it ends at dusk, or 6 p.m., then the cycle repeats. So yeah, 7 a.m. in New York would be 1 o'clock in the morning, Ethiopian time.
Wow. Imagine the confusion just trying to schedule a call or book a flight.
Oh, absolutely. Imagine the fascinating practical challenges this presents for visitors or even for locals interacting with the wider global community for business or travel. It offers this profound cultural insight, though, into how a different concept of time, rooted in ancient spiritual and historical traditions, can really shape daily life, perceptions, even the whole pace of society.
Yeah, a 12-hour day starting at dawn and being 7 years in the past. I imagine that would create some interesting practical challenges, like you said, for international trade or maybe academic exchange. Can you give any specific examples of how that actually plays out?
It definitely does. You see it all the time. For instance, international flights arriving in Addis Ababa, the capital. They often specify arrival times in both Gregorian and Ethiopian time just to avoid confusion.
Smart.
Yeah. Businesses dealing with international partners. They have to be incredibly meticulous, hyper-aware of the calendar difference for contracts, deadlines, financial reporting, you name it.
Yeah, a 7-year gap in a contract date could be messy.
Exactly. Academics, too. If they're publishing research or collaborating internationally, they have to reconcile their timelines. It's this constant cross-cultural negotiation of time. And it highlights how even something as fundamental as a date can be deeply intertwined with cultural and religious identity. For many Ethiopians, it's not just a different way of counting, it's a real marker of their unique heritage.
Fascinating. And speaking of cultural nuances, sometimes even a simple piece of clothing, something seemingly innocent to us, can carry profound meaning and even cause offense elsewhere.
Absolutely. A perfect example is the unwritten but very deeply respected custom in Fijian villages regarding hats.
Hats? What about hats?
In most places, a hat is just, an accessory. Keep the sun off, maybe look good. But in traditional Fijian villages, wearing a hat can actually be a significant sign of disrespect.
Really? Why?
It's not about fashion. It's deeply ingrained in their hierarchical social structure. Traditionally, only village chiefs were permitted to wear head coverings. It symbolized their authority, their status, their connection to the spiritual realm.
Ah, so it's a status symbol.
Exactly. So for a common person, or especially a visitor, to wear a hat inside the village boundaries, it could be seen as an implicit challenge to the chief's authority, or at the very least, a profound lack of understanding and respect for local customs.
Wow. Okay, note to self. No hats in Fijian villages.
Definitely. It's one of those seemingly minor rules of cultural etiquette that, if you ignore it, carries deep significance and can cause genuine offense. It serves as a powerful reminder, doesn't it, that seemingly small gestures can be imbued with immense cultural meaning across the globe, and why it's just so important to be aware and respectful of local traditions when you travel.
That's a powerful lesson in cultural sensitivity for sure. Okay, so from respectful attire to celebrating life, or rather the end of it, in a truly vibrant and unforgettable way. This next tradition really showcases how cultures can transform even somber occasions into these profound expressions of art and personality.
Our deep dive now takes us to Ghana, particularly among the Ga people. There, deceased individuals are sent off in what are known as fantasy coffins.
Fantasy coffins, what does that mean?
Locally, they're called abebu arakai, which translates roughly to proverb boxes or proverbial coffins.
Right.
And let me tell you, these are anything but your typical somber rectangular caskets.
Okay.
They are incredibly colorful, often enormous, and intricately designed to represent a significant aspect of the deceased's personality, their profession, or maybe even a cherished hobby.
So, like, what kind of shapes?
Imagine being buried in a coffin, shaped like a giant, perfectly rendered shoe if you were a shoemaker.
A shoe coffin?
Or meticulously crafted cocoa pod if you worked in agriculture. Or even a detailed fish if you were a fisherman.
Wow.
Other designs include airplanes for pilots, cameras for photographers, even a Bible for a religious leader. These aren't mass-produced items. They are vivid, personalized, often humorous pieces of art. They're painstakingly crafted by highly skilled carpenters, most famously King Kwai and his descendants, who really pioneered this art form.
That's incredible craftsmanship.
It is. And this practice beautifully illustrates how death rituals vary so profoundly across cultures. In Ghana, these coffins aren't just about burial. They're a unique blend of vibrant artistry, deep tradition, and a deeply personal homage. They transform the act of farewell into this lively, celebratory affirmation of the life that was lived, a final public statement about who the person was and what they loved.
That's actually a really beautiful way to honor someone. Turning grief into an artistic celebration of their life, it also speaks, like you said, to incredible craftsmanship. Sometimes, though, cultural beliefs intertwine with daily life in, well, the most surprising ways, influencing everything from construction projects to conservation efforts. This next fact delves into a rather enchanting yet practically impactful belief system.
That would be Iceland. And its fascinating, enduring belief in elves, or as they call them, Huldafolk, the hidden people.
Elves, like Tolkien elves.
Well, maybe not exactly like Tolkien, but yes, hidden folk, supernatural beings. And it's a striking statistic. A survey back in 2007 found that an astonishing 54% of Icelanders actually believe in these hidden folk, or at the very least, they won't rule out their existence.
Over half the population, wow.
Yeah. But here's the thing. This isn't just some charming piece of folklore they tell tourists. It has real, tangible consequences in modern life, particularly in infrastructure development.
How so?
For decades, especially since the 1930s, there have been documented instances where activists, sometimes just ordinary citizens, have actively blocked construction projects. We're talking roads, buildings, even power lines.
Why block them?
To protect supposed elvish habitats. These are often specific rocks, hills, or patches of land that are believed to be their homes. The cultural norm often is actually to reroute the project or halt it altogether rather than risk disturbing the hidden people.
So road construction gets changed because of elves.
It has happened, yes.
Yeah.
This phenomenon represents this remarkable blend of traditional folklore, contemporary environmentalism, because often these sites are naturally significant too, and a deeply embedded societal acceptance that allows these ancient narratives to shape practical modern decisions and even conservation efforts.
That's incredible.
It provides this unique lens through which to view human-nature interactions, right? Where belief systems, even those considered mythical elsewhere, hold significant sway over physical development and collective action. It's a testament to the enduring power of cultural narrative.
That's truly remarkable, a belief system literally influencing urban planning. And while we're on the subject of unique social structures, some cultures embrace gender in ways that truly challenge traditional Western binaries, offering a much more fluid and expansive understanding of identity.
Our deep dive now takes us to Samoa, an island nation in the South Pacific. Samoa recognizes not 2, but 4 distinct cultural genders.
4 genders. Okay, tell me more.
So beyond the familiar categories of man and woman, Samoan society also acknowledges fa'afafine. This literally translates to in the manner of a woman.
Fa'afafine, okay.
And fa'afatama meaning in the manner of a man.
Fa'afafalma.
Fa'afafine are individuals who were assigned male at birth, but who embody feminine gender roles, expressions, and often identities. They dress and behave in ways traditionally associated with women in Samoan culture.
Okay. And fa'afatama.
Conversely, fa'afatama are individuals assigned female at birth who embody masculine gender roles and expressions.
So these aren't seen as like third genders necessarily, but more about roles and expression?
It's complex, but essentially yes. These individuals fulfill important social and cultural roles that may differ from their assigned gender at birth. And crucially, they have been an integral, accepted part of Samoan society since long before European colonization.
So it's deeply rooted in their culture.
Absolutely. This enduring practice reflects a historical and societal acceptance of these fluid gender roles, which starkly contrasts with the more rigid Western binary systems of gender. It's a powerful and, frankly, beautiful example of the profound diversity of human understanding and expression of gender identity that exists across the world. It highlights that gender isn't some universal constant, but very much a culturally constructed concept.
That's an incredibly open and inclusive perspective on gender, something many Western societies are still, striving towards. Okay, so from gender identity to spiritual devotion, some traditions are these deeply ingrained rites of passage that shape young lives and contribute to broader societal well-being.
In Thailand, there's a widespread and deeply respected practice where many young Thai men temporarily enter a Buddhist monastery.
Temporarily, like for how long?
It can range from a few weeks to several months. This is known as temporary ordination or buat, and it's seen as a really vital rite of passage for many.
What do they do during that time?
During this period, they shave their heads, they don the distinctive saffron orange robes you associate with Buddhist monks, and they dedicate themselves to learning Buddhist teachings, meditating, and living according to monastic rules, the Vinaya.
And why do they do this? What's the purpose?
Well, the primary aim, culturally speaking, is to create merit, then bun for their family, especially for their parents.
Create merit. What does that mean?
It's believed that the spiritual merit, the good karma, gained by the son through his time as a monk, benefits the entire family. It's thought to ensure good fortune, maybe a better rebirth for family members. It's a significant act of filial piety.
Huh. That's interesting. It's kind of like a spiritual form of contributing to the family.
Exactly. It's a fascinating cultural contrast to, say, mandatory military service you see in many other countries. Instead of a civic duty fulfilled through defense, this is a profound form of societal contribution and personal development achieved through spiritual practice and reflection. It really underscores the profound importance of making merit in Theravada Buddhist culture. That idea of accumulating positive karma through good deeds, offerings, and spiritual discipline, which ultimately benefits both the individual and their loved ones.
So what does this all mean then? We've seen these incredible natural wonders, these fascinating cultural differences. Our deep dive also reveals some incredible historical legacies, right? And surprising innovations that really shaped the world we live in today.
Absolutely. History is full of these hidden gems.
Let's start with something many of us probably enjoy on a daily basis, maybe even right now without a second thought.
Okay, where are we going?
Coffee, but specifically iced coffee.
Iced coffee. Well, prepare for a surprise. This global phenomenon actually has its origins in Algeria.
Algeria. North Africa, not Italy or somewhere.
No, Algeria. Back in 1840, French soldiers were stationed in a place called Mazagran, Algeria. It was a fortress town.
Okay.
Now, to cope with the intense North African heat, and also to maintain their alertness during long patrols, they came up with a pretty clever solution. They took their strong coffee, sweetened it with syrup, and then quickly cooled it down with ice.
Makes sense. Stay cool, stay awake.
Exactly. And this refreshing, invigorating drink became known as Mazagran, named right after its birthplace.
Mazagran coffee. Huh.
It's a remarkable example of how practical needs, in this case, literally battling a sweltering climate and staying vigilant during military operations, can unexpectedly drive culinary innovations that then spread across the entire globe. It's quite fascinating, isn't it, to trace the ubiquitous iced coffee you might grab today back to its unexpected origins on the hot borders of the Sahara Desert.
That's incredible. I genuinely never would have thought my morning iced coffee had such a specific, practical origin story in Algeria. Does that mean a lot of everyday things we take for granted might have similar surprising stories rooted in specific historical needs or places?
Oh, absolutely. It happens all the time. Many innovations, from mundane everyday objects to groundbreaking technologies, often arise directly from specific needs or challenges faced in a particular time and place. This deep dive certainly reveals how human ingenuity often thrives under pressure or, in response to environmental conditions.
Yeah, necessity is the mother of invention, as they say.
Exactly. And speaking of groundbreaking inventions, let's shift gears a bit to an ancient technological marvel that completely redefines our understanding of early computing, way before we usually think computing began.
Okay, this sounds intriguing. Where are we headed?
We're going to Greece, home to the Antikythera mechanism.
The Antikythera mechanism. I think I've heard of that. It was found on a shipwreck, right?
That's the one, found off the island of Antikythera back in 1901. And this isn't some simple counting tool like an abacus. It's a mind-bogglingly complex 2,000-year-old analog computer.
A 2,000-year-old computer? Seriously?
Seriously. It's made of bronze with over 30 intricate interlocking gears. It's now widely regarded as the world's first known computer, or at least the earliest known complex scientific calculator. It dates back to around 150 to 100 BC.
And what did it do?
Its primary purpose was to predict celestial movements with astonishing accuracy for its time. It could track the positions of the sun, the moon, and the 5 planets known back then.
Wow.
It could predict lunar and solar eclipses, and even model the irregular elliptical orbits of celestial bodies, a concept that wasn't fully understood in Europe until Kepler, like 17 centuries later.
That's unbelievable. The complexity of the gears must have been incredible.
Oh, absolutely. The sheer precision and complexity of its differential gears and interlocking mechanisms demonstrate an incredibly advanced understanding of engineering, mathematics, and astronomy in ancient Greece. It completely challenges common perceptions of historical technology.
Yeah, it really does.
It forces us to reconsider just how sophisticated ancient civilizations were and what they were capable of achieving long before what we typically think of as the modern technological era. It makes you wonder, doesn't it, how different our technological path might have been if this knowledge hadn't been lost for so many centuries.
That is genuinely astounding to think that 2,000 years ago they were building something that complex. It really shifts your perspective on history.
Okay, and speaking of groundbreaking minds, one of history's most, electrifying figures,
Hey, good one.
whose impact is still felt in literally every electrified home today, hailed from a surprisingly small country.
That's Croatia. Specifically, a small village called Smiljan, which was part of the Austrian Empire at the time of his birth. This is the birthplace of the Serbian-American inventor Nikola Tesla. Ah, Tesla, of course.
Born in 1856, Tesla is arguably one of the most influential, yet often weirdly overshadowed, figures in the history of technology.
Yeah, Edison gets a lot of the limelight, doesn't he?
He does. While Edison heavily promoted direct current DC, it was actually Tesla who developed and championed the alternating current AC power system.
And AC is what we use today, right?
Almost universally, yes.
Ah.
It's the foundational backbone of our modern electrical grids. It powers everything from our homes to massive industries. Tesla was incredibly prolific. He held over 100 U.S. patents for revolutionary work in fields like wireless communication, remote control, even early X-rays.
He was way ahead of his time on so many things.
Absolutely. His immense contributions to modern electricity and technology are just fundamental, even if his name isn't always the first one that pops into people's heads. It's a powerful reminder, isn't it? that individuals from smaller nations, even from humble villages, can have a monumental transformative impact on global scientific and technological progress, really shaping the infrastructure of the modern world.
Definitely. Okay, moving from individual genius to foundational systems that underpin our modern world, like the very concept of money itself.
Ah, yes. Money.
This next fact takes us to the birthplace of standardized currency, which absolutely transformed how societies traded and evolved.
If we trace it back, connecting it to the bigger picture of, human civilization and economic development, the world's first true coin, as we understand it, was minted in the ancient Anatolian kingdom of Lydia.
Lydia, where's that?
That corresponds to modern-day Turkey, around 600 BC.
600 BC. So before coins, how did trade work? Just swapping goods.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Economies largely relied on more cumbersome methods like direct bartering, swapping goats for grain or whatever.
Yeah.
Or trading precious metals like gold and silver, but by weight and purity, which meant you always had to weigh it, test it. It made large-scale transactions really inefficient.
Right, carrying scales everywhere.
Exactly. So these early Lydian coins, they were often made from electrum, which is a naturally occurring alloy of gold and silver. They were kind of rough, less perfectly shaped than modern coins.
Yes.
But crucially, they were standardized in weight. And most importantly, they bore a royal symbol, often a lion's head, to guarantee their authenticity and value, backed by the authority of the Lydian state.
Ah, the state guarantee, that's the key.
Precisely. This invention was truly revolutionary. It had an immense and immediate impact on trade and early economies. It provided this portable, standardized, easily verifiable medium of exchange. This simple yet profound innovation laid the essential groundwork for all modern financial systems. It enabled complex commercial networks and the very concept of a widespread market economy that we just take for granted today.
It's incredible how something so fundamental as a coin has such a specific origin point thousands of years ago in Turkey.
Yeah.
And while we're talking about innovation, one country consistently tops the charts year after year, demonstrating this unwavering commitment to progress and new ideas.
That would have to be Switzerland.
Switzerland. Makes sense. Watches, chocolate, banks, innovation.
And innovation. Switzerland has been proclaimed the most innovative country in the world for an incredible 14 years in a row as of 2024, according to the Global Innovation Index.
14 years straight. Wow. How do they do it? Is it just the watches and chocolate?
Yeah, well, maybe indirectly. But no, this isn't just a fluke or a temporary trend. This sustained success is attributed to several key interconnected factors.
Like what?
Okay, first, Switzerland boasts exceptionally strong collaboration between its universities and industry. Research isn't just academic. It's actively applied by private companies to develop new tech and solutions.
Okay, so academia and business work together.
Very closely.
Yeah.
Second, it has relatively affordable yet highly prestigious universities that attract top talent from all over the world. This fosters a highly educated and skilled workforce.
Good universities, good talent pipeline.
Exactly. And third, there's robust government support. A government-backed innovation agency called InnoSuisse actively supports startups and research projects with crucial funding and mentorship.
So collaboration, education, and government support. A trifecta.
Pretty much. These factors collectively foster this deeply embedded culture of consistent innovation. There's immense value placed on fundamental research, development, and a strong focus on STEM field science, technology, engineering, and mathematics.
It raises an important question, though.
What's that?
What tangible things could other countries learn from Switzerland's approach? How could they replicate that kind of innovative ecosystem, and what impact would that have?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? It's certainly something many countries are looking at very closely.
Okay. Sometimes innovation comes not just from technology, but in the form of a grand societal experiment aimed at leveling the playing field and ensuring equitable access for all citizens.
Our deep dive now brings us to Uruguay, a small but very forward-thinking country in South America.
Uruguay. Okay.
Between 2007 and 2009, Uruguay launched this incredibly ambitious and pioneering program called Plan Siebel.
Plan Siebel. What was it?
The core aim was revolutionary for its time: to provide a free laptop and Wi-Fi access to every single child enrolled in grades 1 through 6 in public schools across the entire country.
Every child. A free laptop.
Every child. Grades 1 to 6, public schools. This made Uruguay the first country in the world to implement such a comprehensive one laptop per child project nationwide.
That's amazing. What was the goal beyond just giving out laptops?
Well, it wasn't just about the devices. It was a profound societal effort aimed squarely at achieving digital equity, ensuring universal educational access for all children, regardless of their family's income or where they lived.
Bridging the digital divide.
Exactly. The goals went beyond just access. It sought to integrate technology into the learning process itself, foster digital literacy from a young age, and yes, bridge that digital divide that often just makes inequalities worse.
How did it go? Was it successful?
Like any large-scale project, it had challenges and successes. It definitely increased access significantly and changed the classroom dynamic. But ensuring effective pedagogical use and ongoing technical support are always big hurdles. Still, it connects directly to that broader global challenge, right? Ensuring every child has the tools and opportunities they need to participate fully and equitably in our increasingly digital world. It stands as this powerful example of a nation prioritizing educational access and digital inclusion for its youngest citizens.
Now let's venture into some truly unique societal rules, economic quirks, and just fascinating daily realities that define life in different countries. These often reveal a lot about their underlying values. And our first thought suggests a deep, widespread acceptance, maybe even embrace of mental well-being.
What's truly fascinating here is Argentina. This South American nation boasts the highest number of psychologists per capita in the world.
The highest number, really?
Yes. In its capital, Buenos Aires, alone, there are a staggering 222 therapists per 100,000 inhabitants.
Wow, that's a lot of therapists.
It is. But more than just the high number, going to therapy is incredibly normalized there. It's culturally accepted. Yeah. Almost like going for a regular checkup, but for your emotional health.
Why Argentina specifically?
Well, psychoanalysis, in particular, gained significant traction in Argentina around the mid-20th century. It was heavily influenced by European intellectual movements filtering over, and it just became deeply embedded in the cultural fabric. It's viewed as a legitimate, beneficial practice for self-understanding and personal growth.
So it's not stigmatized like it can be elsewhere?
Far less so, generally speaking. This high rate of engagement with mental health professionals suggests this societal landscape. We're discussing mental well-being, exploring emotions, seeking professional support. It's not taboo. It's embraced as an integral, healthy part of life. It does raise an important question, though. What cultural, historical, intellectual factors contributed to such an open, widespread embrace of psychological support in Argentina, especially compared to many other cultures where mental health discussions still feel quite difficult? It offers a profound insight into their collective attitudes towards mental well-being and openness.
From open conversations about mental health to perhaps less open but certainly entertaining historical conflicts.
Okay.
Our next fact takes us to a rather, well, feather-brained war waged by an entire nation against birds.
Indeed. We're talking about Australia's infamous and, yeah, quite comical Emu War of 1932.
The Emu War. It sounds like a joke, but it actually happened.
Oh, it absolutely happened. This wasn't a metaphor. It was a genuine, albeit short-lived, military operation waged against large emu populations that were causing widespread damage to wheat crops in Western Australia right during the Great Depression.
So the emus were eating the crops.
Eating them, trampling them, causing havoc. Farmers were desperate. They appealed to the government for help, and the military actually stepped in.
The military against emus?
Yes. Led by a Major GPW Meredith. They were armed with machine guns. They even brought along a cinematographer to document the glorious war effort.
Machine guns against birds. How did that go?
Not well. Not well at all for the military. They quickly realized the incredible resilience, the speed, and the just plain unpredictable nature of these large flightless birds.
They're pretty fast, right?
Incredibly fast, and they scatter erratically. Despite firing thousands of rounds, reports suggested it often took up to 10 bullets to kill a single emu. They proved remarkably adept at evading fire, scattering in all directions, making them impossible targets.
10 bullets per emu.
Yeah. The military effort was largely ineffective. Public sentiment, fueled by some pretty amusing media coverage, quickly turned against the whole operation. The war ended quite quickly after about a month, with very limited success and, well, a somewhat bruised military ego. As Major Meredith himself, humorously but tellingly, observed in his report afterwards, if we had a military division with the bullet-carrying capacity of these birds, it would face any army in the world. They can face machine guns with the invulnerability of tanks.
The emus won the war.
Pretty much. It's a quirky yet factual historical anecdote that highlights a very unusual and rather humbling human-animal conflict.
That's certainly a unique chapter in military history. Okay, while some countries battle wildlife, others grapple with far more controlled forms of daily life. where even small personal choices are subject to intense scrutiny and, frankly, severe penalties.
This brings us inevitably to North Korea, a nation where there are pervasive and incredibly severe restrictions on personal freedom and cultural expression. It's well documented.
Yeah.
Any perceived influence from South Korea, for instance, has been made strictly illegal. It's part of the regime's relentless effort to maintain absolute control over information and citizens' minds.
What kind of influences?
Well, a particularly chilling law was enacted in 2020. It's called the Elimination of Reactionary Thought and Culture Act.
Ominous name.
Very. It made watching, distributing, or even just possessing South Korean entertainment, K-dramas, K-pop music, movies punishable by lengthy prison sentences, or even, in some cases, death.
Death for watching a TV show.
That's what the law states, yes. Beyond that, the authorities go to extreme lengths to enforce these rules. Police actively conduct random inspections. They check for things like South Korean styles of white wedding dresses, which are deemed too Western or decadent.
They check wedding dresses?
Yes.
Yes.
And they even go through citizens' phones, scanning them for the use of slang words or phrases that are believed to have originated in South Korea.
Wow. That level of control is hard to fathom.
It is. This impartial reporting on these stringent rules just highlights the extreme level of state control over information, personal choice, even individual expression that defines daily life under the North Korean dictatorship. It offers a stark, sobering illustration of how totalitarian governments can exert this pervasive, suffocating influence over their citizens' very identities and daily existence.
Okay. From such strict control to surprising leniency on the open road. Our next fact showcases a country's very unique approach to driving and infrastructure.
We turn our attention now to Germany, which holds the distinctive honor of being the only country in the world with no mandatory speed limit on some sections of its famous Autobahn.
No speed limit at all on highways.
On certain designated sections, yes. Now, it's important to stress many sections, particularly near cities in construction zones or areas prone to accidents, absolutely do have regulated speed limits, quite strictly enforced.
Okay, so it's not everywhere.
Not everywhere. But the underlying philosophy behind allowing unrestricted speeds on certain stretches reflects this unique cultural balance, perhaps. It balances a degree of personal freedom and, frankly, trust in the driving competence of its citizens with a massive commitment to incredibly high-quality engineering and design of its road systems. The Autobahns are meticulously maintained, often multi-laned, and designed specifically for high-speed traffic. This is complemented by rigorous driver training and vehicle inspection standards.
So the roads and cars are built for it, and drivers are trusted.
That seems to be the philosophy. It's a fascinating example of how a nation's infrastructure and legal frameworks can profoundly reflect its underlying priorities and cultural attitudes. In this case, maybe a deep-seated trust in individual responsibility combined with a dedication to precision engineering and high-performance road systems. It contrasts sharply, doesn't it, with most other developed nations that universally impose maximum speed limits everywhere.
It really does. Okay. And when it comes to rules, some cities take cleanliness and order to an entirely different level, earning a rather telling nickname that hints at both its reputation and its regulations.
What's truly fascinating here is Singapore, often affectionately and sometimes, let's be honest, ironically, nicknamed the Fine City.
The Fine City, as in good or as in penalty.
Yeah, exactly. It's a clever pun. This moniker isn't just a compliment on its undeniable beauty, efficiency, and order, though it is renowned for all those things.
Yeah, it's known for being spotless.
It is. But the nickname is actually a direct, tongue-in-cheek reference to the numerous, incredibly stringent behaviors that can result in a hefty fine.
Okay, like what kind of things? Jaywalking?
Oh, jaywalking, for sure. But much more. We're talking about regulations that might seem almost comically strict to outsiders, but which contribute significantly to Singapore's reputation as one of the world's cleanest and safest cities. For example, selling or even chewing gum is heavily restricted and can result in a fine.
No chewing gum, really?
It's very restricted, yeah. Flying a kite in certain areas can get you fined. Walking naked inside your own home, if you can potentially be seen from outside, can get you fined.
Wow.
Eating or drinking on public transport, fine. Forgetting to flush a public toilet, believe it or not, fine.
They check public toilets.
There are regulations about it, yes. These meticulous rules extend to keeping public spaces pristine, fostering social discipline, and maintaining order above almost all else. It really raises that important question about the societal trade-offs involved, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Achieving such a highly regulated and orderly environment often means exchanging a degree of personal freedom for collective cleanliness, safety, and efficiency.
That's a unique approach to societal order. Certainly seems effective at maintaining cleanliness. Okay, finally, a subtle detail. Something that reveals a lot about a country's administrative approach, particularly when it comes to something as personal as a birthday.
This is a truly unique, everyday oddity found in Pakistan. It's a surprising phenomenon. A disproportionately high number of people on their official documentation like national identity cards or passports have January 1st listed as their official birthday.
January 1st. Why? Are there just tons of New Year's babies?
No, not quite a collective New Year's Day baby boom. It actually stems from historical and cultural practices. In the past, particularly in rural areas or less formalized settings, actual birth dates weren't always meticulously recorded, or sometimes not even precisely remembered by the family.
Okay, so people didn't always know their exact birthday.
Exactly. So later on, when individuals needed official documentation for school or work or government purposes, and their exact birth date was unknown, January 1st just became an easy, convenient, common default date to record.
Just pick the first day of the year? Simple.
Pretty much. This practice was particularly influenced by the process of registering births and updating records as more Western-style administrative systems became prevalent. It offers this fascinating insight into the blend of traditional customs, which sometimes prioritized, say, family lineage or just a general age, over a precise birth date, with modern administrative needs for standardized record-keeping. It just showcases how global influences and bureaucratic practicality can lead to these unexpected, widespread, localized patterns in something as personal as your official birthday.
Wow, what a journey we've been on. From countries like Kiribati that are somehow in all four hemispheres at once, to cities where lightning basically just strikes endlessly, or nations where you're technically living 7 years in the past.
Yeah, the time thing in Ethiopia is wild.
And who knew a simple hat could be such a big deal in Fiji, or that a coffin in Ghana could be this vibrant, personal work of art celebrating someone's life. We've truly unpacked some incredible insights today. Just highlights the sheer diversity of our world.
What's truly fascinating here, I think, is how these seemingly strange or maybe niche facts actually illuminate the profound and diverse ways humans organize their lives, how they interact with their environment, how they carry forward their histories, embody their deepest beliefs. They serve as these powerful reminders that our own normal, our everyday customs, our concept of time, our social rules, it's just one of countless realities across the globe. What we find totally ordinary, someone else might find utterly bizarre, and vice versa.
It really makes you think, doesn't it? What seemingly normal thing you do every day might be completely bizarre to someone on the other side of the world. Maybe it's your morning coffee ritual, or how you greet a friend, or even just your local traffic laws.
Exactly.
And what can we truly learn about ourselves, about the universal human experience by exploring these unique details of others?
Yeah, and this raises, I think, an important question for all of us. In this increasingly interconnected world, as we learn more about these fascinating differences, how might our own traditions, our ways of living, be perceived by others, by people who inhabit these vastly different realities?
Good question.
And maybe on a more personal note for everyone listening, what unique, maybe hidden facts about your own daily life or your community or your country, what would truly surprise someone from far away if they were to take a deep dive into your world?
We invite you to keep that curiosity alive. Maybe start your own deep dive into the surprising facts of the world around you, even the ones right next door. You might just find your next aha moment in the most unexpected places.